Algebra 2, this is Unit 2B review over lessons 2.6 to 2.8. If you'll look at number 1, it is a piecewise function, which is one of your favorites. And it says f of x, which is another way of saying y, is equal to -1. And the instructions say you have to give me the slope and the y-intercept for each line. So if we look at this and think of it as y equals -1, then the slope is 0 because there is no x, and the y-intercept is -1. So at -1, this is your line for y equals -1. But also out here it says if x is less than or equal to 0. So where x is equal to 0 on that line is here, and so the part of that graph that we want is this part because it says less than. So I'm going to erase this other part so that we don't get confused. Okay, the second equation has 2x. So that means y equals 2x. So the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is 0. So we would start at 0, and to do a slope of 2, that means to go up 2, right 1. Up 2, right 1. Or we can go down 2, left 1. So there's the line for that part. But it tells us to only use the part between 0 and 3. So here, where x equals 0 would be an open circle, and x equals 3 right here, so that's a closed circle, and that's the part of the graph that we want. So let's accent that in red. This is an open circle at the origin, a closed circle at where x equals 3, and then we want the part that's in between. And then I'm going to erase the extra green line. So it's not in our way to confuse us. Okay, the third section of the graph says 6 if x is greater than 3. So that's like having y equals 6. So the slope again is 0, and the y-intercept is 6. So you would go up to 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we would have a horizontal line. But it says where x is greater than 3. So 1, 2, 3. Here's 3 on the x. So I want an open circle because the 3 is not included. And then we're going to shade to the right. So let's put our final answer in red. As a reminder, a piecewise function, you take pieces of a couple, 2 or 3 different functions to get your answer. Notice on this middle section that the 3 is solid for the middle graph because the 3 is included, and open for the second graph because the 3 is not included. Okay, look at number 3. I'm sorry, look at number 4 on the same page. Number 4 says h of x equals 3 if x is less than -1, or x plus 1 if x is greater than 1. Okay? Starting with this one, that's telling us that y equals 3. So the slope is 0, and the y-intercept is 3. So you would go up the y-axis to 3, and to have a slope of 0 is a horizontal line. And this says to use the part that's less than where x is negative 1. So this is where x is negative 1. Go up to the graph. Because it's less than, not equal to, we have an open circle going left. So let's highlight the part that's our answer, open circle there, going left, because it said to use less than. And I'm going to erase the rest of the blue line to cut down on confusion. Okay, then the second part is y equals x plus 1. Because the coefficient of x is 1, that makes the slope 1, and the y-intercept is 1. So you would go up to the y-axis, have a point on 1. A slope of 1 means to go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, and then here's our line. Okay, but it says to use the part where x is greater than 1. So that means where x is equal to 1, will be an open circle. And we want to go this way because we want to go where x's value is increasing. So let's outline our answer in red. Open circle going this way. And then we'll get rid of the extra markings. Okay, if you will look on the second page at number 9, it has y equals, this means absolute value, which you can get in the calculator by looking at the Windows button to the right of 9. But the first thing it says to do is give the name of the parent function. Well, that would be an absolute value function. And as we've already learned, absolute values always have the shape of a V. Number 2 says describe the translation. This is translated down to units. Because this negative 2 is outside, which tells us if it's positive, it's up, if it's negative, it's down. Then the third thing it asks you to do is graph it. So the vertex is at 0, negative 2. And then you graph the absolute value V. As long as you get the vertex in the correct position, I will not fuss about the width of the graph. You have to have the basic shape and the vertex, which is that point right there. You have to have those correct in order to get full credit. Okay, look at number 11 on the same page, and it has y equals negative x. The first part of the question is, what is the name of the parent function? Well, this would be linear, or sometimes they call it the identity. If you look in your notes, y equals x is the identity function. In this case, you can use either. The second part says identify the translation. This would be a reflection over the x-axis. And I'll show you what that means here in just a second. Okay, the slope of this is negative 1. The y-intercept is 0. So you start at 0. A slope of negative 1 means to go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. So there's our graph. if you look at the identity function in your notes, or linear function, it's y equals x. If we were to graph y equals x, it would look like this. And I think you can see where the blue is flipped over or reflected over the x-axis in order for it to be the red graph. If you will look at number 17, it has 2 minus y is less than x. We need to subtract 2 from both sides, which gives us negative y is less than x minus 2. Now divide everything by negative 1, because we want a positive y. I have to reverse the inequality because I divided by a negative. Negative x plus 2, because negative divided by negative is positive. So the slope is negative 1. The y-intercept is 2. So go up to 2 on the y-axis. Slope of negative 1 means to go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. And because this has less than, this graph will be dashed, not solid. Hopefully you can get your line straighter than I just did. Okay. The less than also indicates that we have to shade. Less than usually means lower, not always. So greater than would mean upper. So based on that, the part we should shade would be this part. Some of you are not... Stop! I'm trying to record. Quit. Stop. Get out of the house. Go. You going to have to redo that? I stopped it to get their barking ass outside. Well, there's nothing out there. I mean, why in the hell start raising Cain?